to the front, please. Andrew. There's still some chairs up front. For folks, don't be shy. Okay, we're going to get started now. Please take your seats. We still have a couple of seats up here in front for you folks standing. Don't be shy. All right. Oh, wait. Yes, right in front, front and center. I guess I have to work on the seating chart the next time. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay in the back? Too loud? Perfect? Perfect. My name is Brenda Kelly. I have the honor today to be the MC of this event, but most often I'm the Mississippi River wildlife biologist for the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Welcome to my office. The planning team that's responsible for today, we had some meetings that were a little hairy. We talked about flood, where the park was pretty much underwater. We discussed the rain events that could occur at this time of year. But whoever ordered up the weather today, I thank you. I hope Mother Nature has you on the payroll. A few logistics before we get started. We've got a great lineup of speakers for you today, all sitting on either side of me. I hope if you haven't done so already, you take advantage. We put together a poster board that's located in the back. It gives you a good overview of the project. So if you're not familiar with what we've got going on, please visit that. At the conclusion of our presentations, we've got a food vendor that's set up. So please visit them and grab a meal. And also, courtesy of the Village of Bay City, for seeing to that, we have coffee, water, and cookies. So if you haven't been over to the tent, feel free to make that trek. And certainly, speaking of the village, I want to say on behalf of the full planning team today, thank you for hosting this event. They never wavered when I suggested maybe they might host it, since they're really the community of the backdrop to our project. And I told them, I said, I can't even tell you how many people might show up. I can't even tell you who will show up. It might be the governor. But you know what? That didn't scare them off. And they said, especially my counterpart here, Kim, said, bring it on. Next on the docket, I'd like to take an opportunity to introduce a few of our special guests. And certainly when we get to the end, if I potentially miss someone, but when I call out your name, if you please stand up so the audience can see who's here. From Minnesota, Senator Tina Smith's office, Jean Poppy, Southern Minnesota Outreach Director. And also from that office, Julia Wickham, Agriculture, Energy, and Environmental Outreach Director. Also from Minnesota, Senator Amy Klobuchar's office, Chuck Ackman. From Representative Brad Finstad's office, Aaron Eberhardt, District Director. Somebody get on Aaron for not showing up. Representative Warden Petrick's office, represented by, I have you on my list. Representative Derek Van Orden's office, Brian Westrate, Field Representative. Mr. Kevin Wilson, Deputy District Engineer, St. Paul District of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Ms. Barb Naramore, Deputy Commissioner, Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. Mr. Mark Johnson, Executive Director of the Lessard Sands Outdoor Heritage Fund. Mr. Andrew Stevenson, Policy and Programs Director, Upper Mississippi River Basin Association. Frank Lemke, Local Chapter Chairman of Ducks Unlimited. Rob Schultz, Regional Vice President, National Audubon Society. And then last but not least, we have our contractors here today, the ones who are really and truly and officially going to break ground this summer with real shovels and not these fancy gold ones, but have heavy equipment on site. Al Dunn, Operation Manager from JF Brennan. And Taylor Luke, President and owner of LS Marine. Did I miss any one of our VIPs? I'm thinking I did, because that would be the rest of you that I've not had the privilege of meeting yet, but thank you for attending. Many of our speakers are going to touch today on the project and the Super Strong Partnership. They're going to talk about the communities, but I wanted to say a few words on behalf of the one entity that can't speak today, the resource, the Mississippi River. I think I'm a little biased, but it's probably North America's greatest resource, and we're lucky to have it here in our backyards. You guys are going to wear your hands out, so I'm just the beginning. Wisconsin's west coast, Minnesota's east, the river boasts some notoriety. I want to set the stage. It's a wetland of international importance. It's a globally important bird area. It's the heart of one of 4 main migratory bird corridors, the Mississippi Flyway. It's a critical ecosystem that supports a diverse group of mammals, fish, reptiles, amphibians, and mussels. It's a great place to work. But we need to continue that we ensure to do the most that we can in this resource and for this ecosystem, and again, that's why you're here today. So I'm going to introduce our following speakers, let them share their wisdom and vision on this great project that's before you. Starting us off today and needing no introductions, I am honored to welcome to the podium the state of Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers.
Beautiful day. Summer is here. First of all, I want to thank the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, and all the project partners and sponsors, including our neighbor from Minnesota. Actually, as we came here today, I texted our good friend Tim Walls and told him that we are here. We were in Minnesota, but now we are here. And of course, our federal partners and everyone who has been involved with this effort at the local level for the incredible amount of work and collaboration that went into this project, and today, obviously, was very important. This project has been a multi-year, multi-million-dollar effort with great impact economically and ecologically in our area. So I'm glad that the great state of Wisconsin is able to be a partner in this effort as well, and we've directed $3 million to support this project in our last budget, so it's a done deal. Conservation and protecting our vital natural resources is part of our DNA here in Wisconsin. We value our parks and our public lands, wildlife habitats, and of course, the air and water that surround us. Our administration has been committed to these efforts since day one, from declaring 2019 the year of clean drinking water to the to issues as far as dealing with PFAS and getting the lead out of our water and supporting the critical watershed and shoreline protections across our state. We've done the work to lay a foundation to ensure that we will rely on and enjoy the benefits from our tremendous natural resources for generations to come. That foundation starts with projects just like this. This project was identified for the impact it will have, helping to protect the long-term health of this critical habitat, and will be an important example for others to follow as we continue to look for ways to preserve our natural areas from harmful effects of flooding and threats that put these resources at risk. We are grateful for all the partners that have worked together to develop each feature of this dynamic pilot project to use dredge materials to build natural features to support area wildlife and protect the shoreline. Projects like this is look at the number of people here today. This speaks to it. Projects like this are a great example of what we can accomplish when we make this work a priority, and I'm very, very grateful, incredibly grateful that we could be part of this project. So thank you again to all the partners, organizers, and everybody that will be part of the construction process going forward. This effort will help ensure this vital natural area and the local plants, wildlife, residents, and visitors who depend on it can be enjoyed for years and years to come, and that will be an effort that I will always be glad to support. So thanks everybody for allowing me to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you for saying those words. I would like to next introduce, and I'm honored to do so, Mr. Johnny Johnson, a community member here, a council president from Prairie Island Indian Community.
How midaki api, mitawa kodapi, chante washte nape chiyuzapi, hihani washte. I just, in my language, I said good morning. I welcome each and every one of you with a warm handshake and a good heart. I'm proud to see our good friends from Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar's and Tina Smith, and of course Finstead. I don't know if they're here or not yet, but those three have been very helpful to our community in our help in getting the Mississippi clean. My tribe, as most of you know, is just north of you here on the Mississippi River, And we, the Bitawakatuans, which means those born of the water. That is who we are. And we are the keepers of the water in our community. The water is very important to us. It helps out with our animal beings that we have in our community, which is the beaver, the muskrat, all the fish, the deer, all that's in our community that we as Tintawinta, which means Prairie Island in our language, we thrive on. We also have one of the biggest herd of buffalo, Tatanka, that's in our community. We have 300 head right now, and we're expecting 70 new calves this spring, and they're calving right now as we speak, I'm sure. But it's a great opportunity because I don't know if you all know this, but we are the buffalo people. The Dakotas, back in the 1700s, we owned almost close to 36 million acres of land, which consisted of Wisconsin, northern Iowa, all of Minnesota, South Dakota. And of course, that's where the buffalo roam. And so what we did is we followed the buffalo. And we made our homes and our villages from the buffalo. We used every part of that animal for something in our ceremonies. And so again, what I'm here to talk about is right behind us, the Mississippi. My great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, Chief Wabasha, his encampment was just downriver from us here in Wabasha, Minnesota. And many, many times, my members of my people from Prairie Island back down to Wabasha traveled by canoe. In those days, we didn't have any kind of vehicles. And so the canoe was the most important part of our being. And so they traveled back and forth. And my great-grandfather was a great leader. And Chief Wabasha, he taught us about what we need to do. And so when she asked us who brought this day, this beautiful day, we talk about it to the Creator, Wakantanka. He's the one that gave us this beautiful day today, and we cherish it every morning. Every morning I get up, I smudge myself with sage, and I pray before I start my job. And that's important for us because we thank Him for what we have behind us and what's going to go before us when we need to do the restoration. We've Prairie Island, of course, Tintawinta. We just are north of the Lock and Dam number 3. And of course, when Lock and Dam was built in 1930s, they forgot about us, the federal government, and flooded our lands. And so currently where our marina is at, Sturgeon Lake was a much smaller lake. And when Lock and Dam number 3 was built, it flooded all of that. And so we were very sad. I wasn't around in those days, but it was told to me that around Sturgeon Lake, many of our relatives were buried there. And so our burial mounds are now underwater and have been underwater for a very, very, very long time. And also our villages. And I don't know if all of you know about, Red Wing calls it Barnes Bluff, right, Mayor? And we call it Heminicha. In Heminicha, if you cross the Mississippi River into Red Wing, you'll see Heminicha to the left. That big bluff there. And that's a sacred area for us because when we were, when they used to travel back in those days, coming up on the Mississippi or just traveling by foot or horse, that was a sacred point for everybody to know where they are. And so the Dakota people, we are the eastern band of Metawakatans. And it's kind of funny that I can stand here today. I'll be 65 in November. And what I've gone through and seen all my life, I grew up on Prairie Island. I went to school in Red Wing, and I can't imagine what we do without our water. The Mississippi was so important to us. We hunt, we fished on it. Right now, you know, like I said, we struggle sometimes with the flood, but again, the flood is important to us because it gets to certain areas that don't get water, and it helps grow plants. And those plants are very important to the Prairie Island Dakota community. They're our medicine. I have one right here I wanted to bring to you. And we take care of this. This is the sage that grows on our reservation. And we carry it with us. We always are told to carry it with us. And what happens is, and I've told this to many of my non-Indian friends, and they call me later on, they go, I can't believe what you told me to do with this. And it's helped my father, my mother, my grandmother, and my grandfather. And I told them, I say, when you're feeling ill, when you feel like something is wrong, take your sage, put it in a little cup, light a little bit of it, and smudge yourself with it, and you say your prayers to the 4 directions. And those 4 directions, the Creator will come and answer those. And so this is what we carry all the time with us as much as we can. And so, you know, I travel a lot across the United States, being the president of the community down here. We have around 1,100 members. If you look at the whole Dakota Nation, there's probably over 300,000 of us throughout the Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota borders. And so, you know, again, I'm just happy to be here. Hager City is a neighbor of ours. I have a lot of friends that live in this town, and we also support the local baseball team too. So, so again, you know, we have some baseball players that are great friends of mine too on the team. So, I just want to say this much and just say that everything that is in restoration of the river, the sloughs, and the bays is very important to everybody. No matter who you are or where you're from, take part in helping out, because, you know, you go in different parts of the world, and I've been into different parts of the country, and I go into a river or go by a bay, and I can't believe the pollution that is so bad that that's why we say Inamaka, which means Mother Earth. We take care of her, and that's what's important about the Mississippi. It's a travel way for our Dakota people. When I wasn't here, but my great-great-grandfather was here, and we will continually fight to keep the Mississippi clean. Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to have come up to the podium my honor to present Mr. Adam Payne, the Secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
Good morning. I am so honored and humbled that Governor Evers appointed me your Secretary of the Department of Natural Resources in January. And it is just such a pleasure, it is such a pleasure to be here today. And did you pick perfect weather? Absolutely perfect. Beautiful day, beautiful setting, and yesterday I had the chance to visit Perot State Park, the Spring Lake Peninsula, the Tiffany Wildlife Area. And it really put a knot in my throat just looking at those views and spending time with coworkers and learning about the good work that's been done. But it's just so beautiful here. It's absolutely beautiful here. I grew up along the Wisconsin River at Stevens Point and did a lot of hunting and fishing, and I can remember back then you could smell the water in the Wisconsin River. You could taste the fish were a little off. This is when I was 10, 12 years old. And then years later I had the chance to raise my family in Sheboygan County. And fish and spend a lot of time on the Sheboygan River. And we had a Superfund site there. And we had to work with the Army Corps and many, many others to do some dredging. But if there's one thing that I so appreciate about this project is there's two examples of two rivers, two hardworking rivers, that thanks to a lot of collaboration, we've done tremendous work to clean up, restore. We've come so far. And of course today, we're working with the Army Corps of Engineers and so many people here today to once again make an improvement and take care of our natural resources and make sure our future generations can enjoy them. So I'm just so privileged to be a part of this and so proud of our governor and his leadership. That $3 million that he proposed in the budget, that was a difference maker in bringing this together. And all of you have made a difference. The one other takeaway from yesterday was one of my coworkers offered to give me some suntan lotion. And I said, no, I'm fine. If anyone offers you suntan lotion or a breath mint, just take it. Just take it. So today we celebrate the initiation of a multi-million-dollar habitat restoration project right on the doorstep of Lake Pepin. Incredible. And thank you to everyone over the years, as the governor mentioned, that worked together to bring today to fruition. For years, this has been discussed. For years, there's been tremendous perseverance and a strong commitment and a strong partnership to see today happen. Such good work, Brenda, and Jim Fisher, and Diane Brosseau, and Eric, and so many of you who kept working together to see this through. As you know, the goals of this project include improving diversity and acreage of the aquatic vegetation, increasing the health and quantity of floodplain forest, enhancing the quality of habitat for our river, our backwater fisheries and wetland habitats, and improving overall water quality. We have a governor who made it an absolute priority to improve water quality, and has he delivered? And today we celebrate that. Today we're going to take another step forward improving water quality in the state of Wisconsin, and for all of us and generations to enjoy. And I'm just so pleased and proud to be a part of that. This has been a long time coming. I want to thank all of the partners involved, and they were mentioned, but you know, this was only one of 10 projects that was selected out of a pool of 95. And it wasn't just luck. It was a lot of hard work from many, many people over the years to make this happen. Thank you, State of Minnesota, for your leadership. Thank you, the Village of Bay City, Pepin County, the Village of Stockholm, Lake Pepin Legacy Alliance, the City of Red Wing, Wisconsin Cherish Outdoors, our Wisconsin Waterfall Stamp Fund, Ducks Unlimited, the Army Corps of Engineers, and many more. But thank you for all the dollars that you leveraged. Overall, about $4.5 million were leveraged between the state of Wisconsin, the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, and all the entities I mentioned. And that $4.5 million helped leverage $27 million in order to do this work. That's outstanding. Give yourself a round of applause. Internally, our Office of Great Waters was integral in supporting this funding opportunity. Our wildlife management team, a lot of people played a role in this. But this initiative moves our region toward long-term solutions. Long-term solutions, and we're addressing such an enormous challenge here. Maintaining both a commercial navigation system vital to our economy, vital to the region, vital to the country, as well as continuing to improve a nationally significant ecological area. The public will benefit from better water quality, better fishing, better bird watching, better waterfowl hunting, better boating, better ways to connect with nature, simply a better quality of life. And you help make that happen. So thank you. Thank you for your collaboration. We all talk about connecting the dots, bringing people together, and partnerships and collaboration are absolutely the key to success. So thank you. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Secretary Payne. Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Roger Spindler, the President, the Village of Bay City.
Good morning, everyone. You know, I hope each of you has taken a couple moments to enjoy the view that we have here. I mean, I've traveled from Lake Itasca all the way down to the Gulf and stopped at a lot of places in between. And I still consider this to be the most beautiful view on the entire river. The project before us here has been in the making for quite a few years. I mean, the Bay City Harbor was first dredged back in 1965 by the Corps of Engineers, and at that time, commercial fishing was still quite active in this area. But times have changed. Commercial fishing is nearly non-existent in this area, but recreational fishing, duck hunting, and other uses have continued to flourish. And the need to once again dredge became apparent some years ago. The village board members and others worked on putting together a project for several years, but were never able to quite come up with enough financing to get the project going. But now, through the hard work of a number of individuals, the Pierce County Island project is finally underway. The restoration and improvement of wildlife habitat in the area is something that everyone involved has a right to be proud of, and the economic benefit is certainly a plus for this entire area. And so with that, on behalf of myself and the rest of the village board, I would like to say thank you to everyone involved in making this project a reality.
We're going to shift to the other side of the room. Next, I'd like to introduce the mayor of Red Wing, Minnesota, Mr. Mike Wilson.
Thank you so much. The last time I've been in front of this many dignitaries was back in the early 60s when a gentleman by the name of Dwight D. Eisenhower came to Red Wing. So Governor, I want you to know, Johnny, fellow members, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here today. I'm here to represent the city of Red Wing as we break ground on a project to help restore and protect Upper Mississippi River fish and wildlife habitat. Congratulations to Lake Pepin Legacy Alliance, Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, and the Corps. And Governor, especially thank you for coming today for this. This is very special. Your hard work and cooperation have brought us to where we are today. This project is our gift to future generations and also a gesture of gratitude and respect to the Native Americans and the pioneers who left these lands and waters in our care. It's also important to note that the Fish and Wildlife Project is part of a much larger nationwide effort to restore habitat and wetlands that are too long have given the short shrift. One of the best examples is remarkable restoration taking place in the St. Louis River near Duluth. After decades of neglect, the fish are back, people are hiking, swimming, and boating, and as we speak, the smelt are running. This is what can happen when people plan and work and cooperate together. I'm confident we will see this kind of success here in Bay City and on the Mississippi. And now Taylor, LS, get those guys to work. We've got stuff to get done. Thank you.
Sounds like you have some marching orders. Next, it's my honor to introduce Colonel Eric Swenson, District Engineer, St. Paul District, Army Corps of Engineers.
Good morning. Boy, it's an honor for me to be here today to address you, and Mayor Wilson. I echo that. I haven't been in front of this large of an audience and with such talent in quite some time. Governor Evers, President Johnson, Bay City Village President Spindler, Mayor Wilson, Secretary Payne, Deputy Commissioner Naramore, distinguished guests, friends of the Mississippi River. It is so good to be here with you today. Though I'm not originally from this area, I have quickly grown to love the Mississippi River in all its majesty, its limitless potential, its great power, and its great peacefulness. A few weeks ago, the Corps, along with many of you here, were battling the river to keep it at bay and out of your homes and businesses. The past 2 nights, I've been staying in Red Wing and watching the mighty Mississippi at sundown as I strolled along the bike paths near the yacht club. The only remnants of floodwaters were a few scattered tree branches lying about. The quickly receding floodwaters left behind a few signs to remind us of the power of the river. But looking past the scattered debris, the grass was lush and green. Spring has sprung. Floodwaters have rehydrated the earth. There were ducks swimming, families fishing, walkers gazing, eagles soaring, and a few deckhands preparing their vessels. I share these thoughts today because they highlight the great power of the river and its great importance to the people who call these banks home. The Mississippi River means many things to many people, and its importance is found around the U.S. and more importantly, around the world. This river is one of our nation's great, maybe the greatest treasure, and preserving it is why we are here today. So today we celebrate a new project on the Mississippi, a project that has brought river enthusiasts together to celebrate a new initiative and a new way to efficiently use clean sand and dredged material for the preservation of the river and, as important, the river habitat. This project is the epitome of what can be done when we work together from every level of government, as you've heard this morning, as well as all the non-governmental agencies that are represented here today and probably some more that aren't represented here. This partnership is helping build a better tomorrow to ensure this great river continues to support the region and the nation. The Mississippi River and our navigation mission have been the heart and soul of the St. Paul District for over 150 years. Our district motto is stewards of the headwaters, and we take that role very seriously. As you all know, the commerce that travels along this river supports local farmers and businesses and ensures competitive prices within the global markets. Continual investment in waterbound transportation to include maintaining our locks and dams, ports, harbors, and dredging strengthens our economy by decreasing the time and cost of material transport. The benefits for river transport, however, go beyond cost savings. I'm just going to put something in perspective, something that I think about a lot. Every 15 barge tow that safely transits this river behind us is equivalent to 1,050 semi-trucks on the highway. Just think about that. When I took over this job about 10 months ago, I once thought, 1,050, I can count to 1,050. I wasn't that guy. So I went on a long car trip, which I find myself doing frequently as I travel across the 5 states that I have employees in. And I never got to 1,050 trucks. And frankly, I cannot imagine what 1,050 semis would look like on the interstate. Every time I help lock a 15 barge, I say help. Every time I watch my highly trained professionals lock a 15 barge tow up or down the river, I think about the savings we get to our air quality, our road safety, and our road infrastructure. Those are real savings. Furthermore, when done right, navigation improvements also benefit aquatic ecosystem habitat. And today is a perfect example of that. 20 years ago, we may have used the sand removed from the river through dredging and placed it on an island somewhere in the river or tried to offload it to a local community for some other use. Now, with significant help from our partners, those of you in the room today, we are turning that sand into a commodity that will serve a new purpose in improving habitat within Lake Pepin. This is truly a win-win solution for all, and I'm pleased as the commander of the Corps to be part of this initiative. We continue delivering our program by providing reliable, safe navigation while also strengthening the environment at a reduced cost. The Water Resources Development Act of 2016 outlined this new pilot program, which was hinted on earlier, to explore beneficial reuse opportunities for dredge material under an authorization known as Section 1122. I'm just going to list a few of the purposes. Protect and restore and create aquatic ecosystem habitat, stabilizing stream systems and enhancing shorelines, promoting recreation and public safety, and reducing the cost of dredging and dredge material placement. I can safely say that this project achieves all of those goals. Together, we plan to utilize up to 300,000 cubic yards of dredge material from Lower Pool 4 alone to improve the ecosystem here at the head of Lake Pepin. Given this area's historic sedimentation problem, just as an aside, the core dredge is about 1 million cubic yards a year from the upper Mississippi, the sort of northern Iowa up to St. Paul. So about 300,000 yards is going to go to this project. So given this area's historic sedimentation problem, this project will beneficially use dredge material, what I like to call clean sand reclamation, to create peninsulas that will deflect new sediment and protect backwaters needed for healthy fish habitats and for overwintering. Under this program, we can accomplish things that would not have been possible with previous programs and authorities. In Pool 4, because of the physical, social, and regulatory constraints, all the dredge material that is removed from the channel must be either stored permanently at an upland site or used beneficially. Beneficial use within this river valley is preferred. However, it is often cost prohibitive to transport the material from the navigation channel to a place where habitat restoration is most needed. This new program changes that for us, and I'm excited to see the more than 800 acres of aquatic, shoreline, and flood forest habitat developed over the next 3.5 years. I am confident that programs such as this one is helping us engineer solutions to our nation's toughest challenges. And when we have great partners, like the ones here today, we will ensure resources such as the Great Mississippi River continue supporting the region and our nation for generations to come. So thank you.
You didn't realize we were putting you on flag detail, did we? Minnesota flag nonetheless. I probably deserve that, right? Last but certainly not least, and the gal who's going to bring it home for us today, my co-conspirator on this project, Mrs. Riley Hintz, Executive Director of Lake Pepin Legacy Alliance. Thanks, Brenda. Thanks everybody for being here. I don't know if I got to go last because it's the best speaking position or because I'm the lowest ranked. I'll let you decide on that. Lake Pepin Legacy Alliance is a grassroots organization. We've been around since 2009, and we are a nonprofit group trying to figure out, representing the people around the lake, many of whom are you all, trying to make sure that we have a healthy Lake Pepin. I've been with this organization for just shy of 11 years now, and working on this project for 9 years. So today's a very exciting day for me and for this organization and for this community. And I just want to talk a little bit about the power of communities coming together, because we have the resources of all these great agencies and states, and it's also been really important to have the community involved in this project to see it move forward. So I know a couple of our board members are here representing Lake Pepin Legacy Alliance. If anybody on the board wants to just wave their hand, you can see some of our board members here. And if you are a member of Lake Pepin Legacy Alliance, just our members, raise your hand or clap your hands. So we certainly have some very special guests here today, and I am honored to be speaking here with them. Again, I just want to talk about a couple really key moments in this whole process for me that were highlights and really represented what we can do when we come together as a community. The first
back in 2018, I believe it was when we said, okay, we have $4 million to raise now for this local cost share. How are we going to do this? And how are we going to get this project going? And the city of Red Wing pledged $100,000 to be the first pledge towards this project that said we might actually be able to accomplish this and get some people to come together. And really following that, then the city of Bay City, the village of Stockholm, Pepin County came forward, and all of a sudden we had 4 local municipalities dedicating actual money from their budgets, which are not huge when you're in, small towns, to say we want to see this project happen, even for communities downstream like the village of Stockholm, to say this is important for all of us, for the entire Lake Pepin community, to see a project moving forward that's going to benefit the area. And then probably the thing that felt like, maybe the first miracle was getting some funding from the Lizard Sims Outdoor Heritage Fund and from the state of Minnesota for a project. Well, the river really shouldn't be Minnesota or Wisconsin. It is both. This is a project that's in Wisconsin. And so to get $750,000 to say we've got local communities fighting for this, this is going to benefit both Minnesota and Wisconsin and the habitat that exists between them, that moved us forward in such a significant way that it felt like we all kind of started to rally around this project and think we can really get this accomplished. And then the final, well, not quite the final piece, but working with Representative Petrick to get the project in Wisconsin's Joint Finance Committee's budget, and then also have that reconciled with the governor's budget. And that was really easy. And I know Roger Spindler, he joined me, he was at the Finance Committee meeting. I had a 14-month-old that was also there with me all day. Great, all day long until I entered the room, where I got to speak for 3 minutes and then he started crying. But somehow they still approved the money and we got $3 million from Wisconsin's budget. So we had so many partners to come together, and then when we finally knew the exact dollar amount that we needed to kind of cross the finish line, I was able to work with Brenda and her team of partners at the DNR, and 3 local foundations came together and helped us cross the finish line. So we had every dollar we needed in order to see this project move forward. And it just wouldn't have happened without the power of saying that we represent 800 people and making sure that this organization can stay afloat and adapt and learn and have these community voices represented in big projects like this, which just doesn't happen on the river very often. So I'm so honored to be a part of it and to be here today and to have so many special guests here celebrating, including all of our members. And I just want to say thank you to all of our partners. I thought that if I got nervous in the beginning, I'd start with a joke, but since I made it through, I'll end with a joke. My water chemistry professor in college told us, and I was the only one that laughed out loud, which means I'm in the right place professionally. So, what do you call a fish with no eyes? Anybody? Thank you.
That's an old joke. My husband's an educator, and that's when he tells to his 7th grade science students. I know you guys have been so good about each of our speakers and clapping, but can I ask you to do one more round of applause for all of our speakers today? So here's what's happening. The train, you actually were pretty lucky for that through the morning. I'd like to again invite you to stick around and have a meal. We have a food vendor that's over here. I would ask you and or challenge you to take advantage of reconnecting with an old friend. Maybe a double challenge of making a new friend, because you're all here for the same common theme. And as President Johnny Johnson said, introduce yourself with a warm handshake and a warm heart. I'm going to ask the following folks, we're going to step across the road and we're going to take 2 photos. I need the speakers from this morning to be in our first photo. We want to capture those speakers and